three secrets. All right. Three key secrets, right? Secret number one, how to build trust with your profile. With whatever you want to do with that trust is up to you. Secret number two, how to create awesome content. And secret number three, how to build a following and a brand. So this way, with using LinkedIn, you can utilize these three secrets to help you build a great brand and ultimately help you achieve whatever goals you may have, whether you want to become a celebrity, whether you want to use it for business or really anything else. Now, truth is, some of you may not know me at all. So let me just go ahead and just give you a little bit of a quick background. All right. I'm Marcus. I'm the guy right here. You can see with the yellow rectangle, right? As Rachel mentioned, I have been in B2B sales and executive sales leadership roles for over 14 plus years. Really fortunate, was promoted 10 times in 10 years. Was real lucky to how that happened. I've also been ranked in top percentile in every role, and I've won countless awards as well. Just some examples right here. You can see my last role, I led a large organization, right? I mentioned that. And then eventually I left to do my own thing at 35, which is pretty awesome. And you can see here some of these pictures here. I'm at different awards events. I'm giving some big keynote speeches. I'm riding corporate jets. And of course, I also had more hair in those pictures as well. But more importantly, I had the opportunity to really work with just thousands of sales professionals, whether they had zero experience to 20 plus years experience in over 100 countries, to help give them skills and knowledge to be really successful in sales, because your ability to sell is really important for your future. Now, here's the reality. I didn't start this way, okay? I didn't start this way, all right? Now, let me give you just a quick background on me. All right. So this is me right here. Right. I was born and raised in Springfield, Oregon. Okay. I grew up, very, very poor. All right. My parents were Chinese immigrants that escaped from a communist revolution during the communist revolution, right? During the Cultural Revolution. And they eventually made it to America, with no money and only in eighth grade and high school education. And really, most people wouldn't hire them, so they opened up a Chinese restaurant, right? Which you see pretty often with many Asian Americans. And so we all grew up just working and pitching in. And you know, uh, growing up, it wasn't an easy life, right? It wasn't an easy life, right? This is our first house. It's an okay house, but it was a really bad neighborhood. All right. So growing up, we had kids that were dealing drugs and doing drugs that were very, very young. I was always very worried about the restaurant going under, not having stability, and I really feared not having a place to live as a kid. So as a result, I grew up just working my tail off, working my butt off, working nonstop, and I dreamt of a future where I could use my brain to make money, right? To be in a position where, I didn't have to physically be working physically hard, right? And I dreamt of wearing suits and making more money than I thought possible. And just simply, well, more importantly, being confident and an important person. So, yeah, I eventually went to school, went to university, and I graduated in 2007. There's a picture of me right there, right? Again, more hair back then. And I went to go start an outside sales role for a brand new startup division, right? It was for the entire sales process, which means I had to do a lot of cold calling, presenting, and closing. And it was brand new with zero clients. So I was really excited to start this as a fresh college graduate, ready to take on the world. Because I figured I had the education, I can go. And then I started, and I remember my very first day on the job, my boss wanted me to go and cold call, like physically walk into businesses, right? He told me to knock on doors, as we call it here. So he gave me a stack of business cards, and he told me to go out and give out 30 business cards and to come back. I was really scared and really nervous because I've never really done sales before. But this is my opportunity. I knew if I could really master this, it could help me create a new life. So I went out there and I actually went to 60 plus doors. I knocked on 60 plus businesses that day. Uh, didn't close a single deal, right? Didn't close a single deal, didn't bring on a new client. So I was pretty worried. The next day I tried again, and I went and knocked on 60 more doors again. And again, zero interest. And I was getting really worried because I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I mean, I had went and talked to 120 plus businesses and didn't close a single door or a single business, right? So I was feeling really defeated, and I went to my boss, who had never done my job before, And I said, hey, can you give me some help? And he said, hey, just make more calls and just try to get more appointments. So I tried again. Again, no appointments, right? And fast forward, down the road, like that weekend, I went to the weekend thinking, man, like I'm gonna fail. I'm going to fail. I'm gonna get fired. I'm gonna lose my job. And I remember talking to my girlfriend at the time about how scared I was because I was blaming everyone. I was blaming my boss for not training me. The economy is starting to fall apart. So I was blaming the economy. I was blaming really anyone, everyone. And, my girlfriend said to me, she said, hey, Marcus, you're pretty studious. You read a lot of books. Why don't you go to a library and get some books, sales books at a library? I'm like, you know what? That's a good idea. I should go to the library. So I went to the library and got as many sales books as possible, right? And these are some really common sales authors, right? And they were, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, Augmenting, really common American sales authors. So I started reading all these books. I started reading as many as possible. And I started reading these books over the next several weeks. And I kept trying to do what these books were saying, along with my boss was saying. And there's a lot of stuff that was like, hey, just, make more phone calls, knock on more doors, and play the numbers game. And every week I went back and I got more sales books. I kept trying. However, after my first full month in sales, I still had sold 0 accounts. I was actually the worst rep, the worst sales professional in the company. And on top of that, all these things they were teaching me in these books were from 1970s, right? And I felt really sleazy doing it. It didn't feel good. Okay. But really, worst of all, I wasn't making any money. I wasn't making any money. I couldn't barely afford to pay my rent. I couldn't afford to get groceries. The economy was falling apart. I was worried about getting fired and getting put in an even worse spot. And then I uncovered Tony Robbins. This is Tony Robbins right there at the library. And this is about 6 weeks into my job. And I still had sold 0 deals. I'm still struggling. And his book, Awaken the Giant Within, this book you can see right here, really spoke to me. And one of the things he talked about was, if you don't like the answer, ask a better question. So I started asking more questions on calls and started getting more appointments, right? And even though this wasn't a sales book, this actually helped me get more appointments than ever. And even though I wasn't closing them, it was progress, and I was getting excited. Fast forward 2 weeks later, my boss pulled me to his office Friday night. He basically told me that I was underperforming and the worst rep in the company, and he's going to put me on a performance plan, meaning if I didn't figure out my job, how to sell, he'd fired me. So that night I was really, really upset, and I felt like a bigger failure than ever before. Here's actually a picture of me right there. You can see right there. That Monday, my boss had us wear these things, these little billboards, if you will, to go out and try to drum some leads up, right? I might be smiling here, but I felt very demoralized and felt very embarrassing just to be outside wearing a suit, wearing these type of things. So that I decided that night I was going to continue to work on better questions as it gave me real progress, right? And as days went on, I realized by asking the right questions and appointments, I would learn everything I needed to know to close them. The truth was, I didn't need to be an industry expert or product knowledge expert, or even a sales expert. I had to be a questions expert, right? The product would just tell me how to close them, right? So I started having more and more appointments, started closing. So fast forward 1 month, I skyrocketed to number 1, right? And that was really cool. All within 3 months of staying in sales, right? All within 3 months of being in sales. And I didn't feel sleazy doing it. Okay. I held the number 1 spot for 2 more months, was asked to be a peer leader over the worst operations, and continued to have more success. And unfortunately, I stayed number 1 and earning 2 more promotions, right? And here's actually a few pics of some of the award trips I went on, right? This is actually a 5-star resort in Mexico. And those 2 peers, I taught them too, right? So as I continue to have success, right, I eventually, fast forward years later, I decided to quit my job last year, 2019, and go all in on my business, right, which is called Venli Consulting Group. And this is where we kind of transition into talking about LinkedIn, right? And I decided the best way to grow my business was using LinkedIn, okay? And I started using LinkedIn pretty seriously in September. So let me just get a quick gauge right here, just in the chat box. Are you currently on LinkedIn? Go ahead and type in yes in the chat box if you are currently on LinkedIn. Oh, wait a second. Just type in the chat box if you are on LinkedIn. Okay, good. Starting to see some yeses come through. Good. Okay, good. Very good. All right. Now some of you might be wondering, okay, there's a lot of platforms out there, right? Why LinkedIn specifically? Because you can obviously there's there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's other ones as well that are coming out, right? So here, let me show you why. Okay, now I use all the platforms, but right now, LinkedIn has over 260 million active users. Okay, that's important to understand that, right? Um, in the US, right, 44% of those users, their take home is more than $75,000 more per year, which is above the national median in the US, meaning they have money to spend, which is really important, right, for business. Okay. And you take a look at this stat right here, right? Um, LinkedIn is the number one social media channel for anyone who is selling business to business. So if you are selling to businesses, this is why it's such a great one, right? And here's what's even a really interesting stat. Only 3 million LinkedIn users share content on a weekly basis, meaning 3 million out of 260 million active users. That means less than 1%, of people on the platform are actually putting content out there, meaning that's a huge blue ocean or opportunity for you to share content, meaning you have more ways to get your content out there versus on Facebook and Instagram, you have some more limitations and they want you to pay to use advertising, right? So to give you an example, right, I started using LinkedIn pretty seriously in September. And since then, I have built, a nice brand on the platform, right? And just give you some samples right here. I went from, you know, uh, 3,500 followers in 12 months to over 13,000 followers. Okay. But it's not just having a following. I actually have people that are actually engaging and interacting with me. Right. So here's some example right here. Here's a sample post from earlier this week. Right. And just give you an example of the amount of eyes you can get on these. Right. This post, and this is not even that great of a post. This is from earlier this week. In one day, over 12,509 people saw it, right? That means I was able to get in front of and get over 12,000 people from around the world to see my stuff. And that's very, very powerful for business, right? This one, in 2 days, over 15,000 people was able to see my stuff, right? And that's very powerful for a platform. Usually, if you are on Facebook, unless you have an incredibly massive following on Facebook or Instagram, using this type of viewage, like real views, not bots, nothing fake, but real views, usually will cost $500 to $1,000 USD a day to get this many views. On LinkedIn, it's completely free. And as a result of this, right, this has led to, this is just, this last week, I averaged between last week, I got 4 to 16 leads on average per day, right? And of course, all this, the leads, like the views, leads to building a thriving business, right? Real money, real revenues, right? And I've been really fortunate by using LinkedIn properly. It's allowed me to, it's been a great tool for helping me get recognized in publications like Yahoo Finance, if you're familiar with Yahoo Finance, or Market Watch, right? And it's all because of LinkedIn. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to cover some key strategies that you can implement immediately that's going to help you do similar things as well. Okay. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and type in awesome or type in great if that sounds good to you. Type in great in chat, just like make sure you're all following along so far. Just type in great or good or awesome. Cool. All right. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of everything. Okay. So this is what we're going to cover. All right. 3 key secrets, like I mentioned, right? How to build trust with your profile. Secret number 2, how to create awesome content. And secret number 3, how to build a following and a brand. All right. So secret number 1, how to build trust with your profile. Now, the cool thing is what I'm going to teach you today for LinkedIn, you can apply to every single platform for social media. All right. So you can play a same concept for Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, TikTok, etc. Right. Now, obviously, certain platforms are going to work better for you depending on your monetization strategy. Now, the big mistake that most people do on any platform, okay, is that their profile does not build trust with someone who does not know them. Okay. And the key is this. The key is your profile is like a uniform. It signifies something and can create trust. And whenever somebody checks you out, okay, um, the first thing they do is they look at your profile. They check out your profile. All right. If they, for example, like here's what I love about LinkedIn. If you went to Google, search google.com, and someone searched your name, right, the first thing that's going to usually pop up is usually going to be your LinkedIn profile. This is actually why LinkedIn is so powerful over other platforms, because of that reason. So if you think about this, your profile is a uniform because it forms a first opinion immediately. Like within 30 seconds, when someone looks at your profile, they'll make some pretty fast judgments in their head if they trust you or not, right? So here's a really good example. I want you to picture this. Imagine you on today's presentation today. Imagine if you were really sick and you had a brand new doctor you can go see that you never met before, okay? And you go to the doctor's office, and this is the doctor, okay? So type in the chat box, would you trust this person if you saw him to be your doctor? Would you trust him to be your doctor? That he's going to help solve your problem? Type in the chat box, would you trust him? Yes or no? Type in the chat box, yes or no. Would you trust this guy to be your doctor, to solve your problems? So, okay, so far, no yeses so far. So good. That's good. All right, good. We're on the same page here. All right, good. Big no. All right, you're right, because he looks dirty. His clothes are dirty. He has a dirty beard. I don't even know what he's eating right now, but he doesn't look like someone you can trust, even if they know how to help you. Okay. Now, I want you to imagine this guy. Would you trust this guy? Just type in the chat box. Would you trust this guy? If this guy was the doctor you went to go see that you see on the screen, would you trust him? Just type in yes if you would trust this guy. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, right. So, and here's the thing: he's clean, professional. He's well groomed. He's got a clean shirt on, a tie, a stethoscope, a clean lab coat, etc. All right. But here's the thing: if you really think about this, right? Like, what if I had told you that the guy in the picture you see right now, okay, he has zero experience. He's never actually helped a patient, while the other guy, this original guy, has over 30 years experience, award-winning experience. He's actually one of the best doctors in the world. You probably wouldn't believe me, right? You wouldn't believe me, right? And I share this analogy with you because this is like your profile, right? If your profile is not well optimized, and I'll share some examples of what you could do for that. If it's not well optimized, and you are trying to interact with someone brand new who does not know you, if your profile is not optimized, they may see your profile to be like this guy on the screen, this scary looking dirty guy. So you want to make sure your profile, and this is from LinkedIn to any platform, right? It should be like this. It should be clean, professional across the board. All right. So that gives you an idea, right? So let me give you some examples. So specifically on LinkedIn, right? This applies to your headshot. Okay. So the picture you have there is a professional picture, right? And it doesn't have to be an amazing, perfect picture. Just make sure you have good lighting, a decent background. You're smiling, you're wearing clean clothes. Like you don't have to have a professional do it. You can just even go have a friend take it on really a decent camera phone, right? And good lighting, and you have a great picture, right? Like all my pictures are from my phone. Let's have someone take it for me, and I put it up. You crop it. You can add a filter. You can do whatever you want. You can make it look amazing. Okay. So your profile picture, your tagline. So you have a little tagline to say what you want to say. There's a banner in the background, which you put whatever in your background, the banner. There's an about section as well, which is about you, your job history, your interests, right, and your content. So you picture if someone brand new was go onto your profile, they should feel like you are this doctor. It's professional, it's clean, and of course, you don't have to be super buttoned up. You can also have your personality in there. Like if someone was checking out my LinkedIn profile, I have my personality built in, but it's still professional, and it's all designed to create trust. And again, you could do this for every single profile for each platform. So what it means is for you, is taking the time to go through your profile and just every single piece. If you were a stranger looking at your profile, could you create trust with them? So for example, let's just say if you have a business where, you do a little bit of, consulting, right? Well, consulting is pretty easy. Or maybe it's called personal training. Maybe you are in great physical shape and you want to teach others how to be in great shape as well. And you want to make sure when they go to your profile, it looks professional. Well, first off, have a that's professional headshot, and they go through your profile, and you kind of maybe share your journey. Maybe you have some sample testimonials from clients, maybe some before and after pictures of clients, right? You have some other key things, and also your content's going to align to it as well. All right. So again, don't make it like a where you're pitching. It shouldn't be advertisements on there. It should be more so credibility and trust. Credibility and trust. This is actually why when you go to a doctor's office, they usually have their certificates of all the schools they went to in frames on their office. You don't have to do that exactly, but it's the same concept of showing credibility and trust, because they're putting you at ease so that they're an expert. And when someone looks at your profile, you also want to convey that you are an expert as well in whatever it is you offer. Okay. So when you do it this way, right, and you do it for all your profiles, any social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, future program or future social media platform, same concept. Take the time to do it. It's your first impression, right? So when anyone checks out your profile for the very first time, they'll say, I trust them. And when they trust you, that leaves them more open to connecting with you if you send a connection request, and also potential conversations. So that's secret number one. Secret number two, how to create awesome content. Okay. So content is really key, and a lot of times people do content the wrong way. The way I want you to picture content is essentially food. Okay, content is food for your followers and strangers to eat and consume. All right, and here's what I mean by that. All right, think about this. What you really want to know is, what does your audience you are going after, what do they want to eat? What do they want to eat? And I'm going to give you a really good example here. If, for example, they are a vegan, meaning they do not eat meat, they do not eat dairy, milk or cheese or any products, from, is based off milk or eggs, right? And you are trying to give them food like steak. Okay. You're trying to give them steak to consume. They're not going to consume it, and they're not going to see any value in it. All right. Let me pause for a second. Does that analogy make sense? Right. Type in yes if that analogy makes sense. I'll make sure this is really important here, because this is where I see a lot of people make a huge mistake. They create the wrong type of food for their people. Yeah. So good. So here's what that means, right? So your content has to be created so the people you're going after, that you want to build an audience with, a brand, future customers and clients, relationships with. That's the same concept. Your content must be what they want to consume. All right. It must be of value for them. All right. So that means you should solve problems, give tips, be helpful, and there's no pitches. So you're not presenting things. You're not saying, you're not putting out posts out there saying, hey, buy this, buy that. Here's an offer. Here's a discount. You don't want to do that. What you want is provide value. Give them food, right? Give them food. Okay. And when you give them food consistently, right, they're going to get used to it, right? So for example, let's go back to the personal trainer. If I'm a personal trainer and I teach people how to lose weight and get in shape, what I don't want to do is put out content saying, hey, buy my program. What I could do instead is say, hey, here are 3 ways you can lose weight without having to diet. And he gives some really valuable tips. That's very useful, right? Or maybe here's a video, for everyone who, is working from home. Here is here's a 30-second training or 30-second exercise you can do that I did at home, but you can do anywhere. something that's going to be of value for your audience, right? So really helpful, give some tips. So let me give you some examples here. What's really cool. So this is on LinkedIn right here, right? This is, you can do a video, right? Which is cool on LinkedIn. You can do video, right? I did one because I present and train salespeople. That's my audience. I was talking about, because in sales, a lot of people get in their own head. So I gave a nice little analogy here with a video story with my son, right? You know, and that's really, really powerful. Okay. Videos are very powerful, right? Now, videos don't get as many views. This one got about 2,000 views, but it's still a powerful way. Here's a couple of examples, right? You can do text only posts. And again, text only ones, this is from the same example from earlier. Text only ones are very powerful as well. All right. And then you can also do articles on LinkedIn, right? So you can do a long form article. So you can write a nice, really long, powerful article as well. Now, what's also really neat is now they're starting to have more features out there, such as you can do live sessions. They just added stories in there recently. You can do polls, and there'll be more in the future. And what's really, really powerful about LinkedIn is that's all on the same platform, right? So that allows you to reach your target market, your audience, the people you're going after in many different ways, whether you want to do a video, a text only, an article. Of course, obviously, there's also the direct messaging feature, which is great as well. So, but again, the point is simply this. The key is to ensure the content you create is a food they want to consume, right? And if you're not sure, and that's okay if you don't know, that's okay. You can run surveys. You can read their posts to see what they are struggling with. You can read their comments. You can engage and learn what they're looking for, and then create things that's going to help solve their problem. And when you do it consistently, they will see you as the expert, right? So, for example, let's just go back to a personal training example. If every single day you put out a very powerful, useful, helpful post about personal fitness, and maybe they're getting to know you a little bit, right? But they don't know you quite yet. But now they start following you, and after 2 weeks, you have dropped, we'll call it 5, 10, 15 posts of high value. They are becoming indoctrinated now by your content. Like, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. So if they're looking for a personal trainer, you'll hopefully be the first person they will want to reach out to, right? Or if they've been warmed up by you, when you reach out to them, then you're more open to it. So I'll give you a really good example, right? So you think about anyone who is, like a famous celebrity, right? Like a famous celebrity, right? Does everyone know who, this is a U.S. actor, The Rock is, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock? Type in yes if you know who Dwayne Johnson, The Rock is. Type in yes. He's probably one of the most famous people in the world. Type in yes. I just want to make sure everyone knows who The Rock is. Cool. Really, really well known, right? Now, he is really massive on social media. So here's reality, right? If The Rock sent you a direct message and said, "Hey, Rachel, I have this new book coming out. Would you be interested?" Chances are you're probably like, "Wow, this guy has a great brand. He's really well known. I probably will do it. I'll probably buy the book," right? And that's the power of building good brands. This is a good example. It's obviously on a very, very high end, right? So if you can get yourself to, even a little level, like, like here, right? Great. That's only going to help you, right? You don't have to be like The Rock, but you get my point. So, because he's constantly putting out content. People love his movies. They love his social media. They love what he is all about. So as a result, he's built a really, really great brand as a result. Okay. So good. So now let's go into secret number 3. Okay. Which is how to build a following and a brand. All right. Let me get a sip of coffee. It's still morning for me out here in the United States. So, okay. So as you are starting on LinkedIn, when you first start putting out content out there and you start sending messages, at first you will hear nothing. Okay. You'll hear nothing, right? But there is a strategy, okay? And it's much like fishing. It's like fishing. And here's what I mean by that, right? LinkedIn is a really, really big ocean. It's a huge ocean, okay? And if you're fishing in the wrong area, like on the left side of this boat, you're not going to catch really anything. This person caught a boot, which they don't need, honestly needed a boot. It's not worth much. So it's like fishing right there. So it's a big ocean. If you fish in the wrong area, you're not going to catch anything. But if you fish in the right area on LinkedIn, you'll catch big fish. And that's very similar to LinkedIn. It's a huge ocean with many little areas where you can go fish. So you have to make sure you go first to where the fish are at. Because if you're putting your fishing pole in the wrong area, you're not going to catch anything. All right. Let me pause for a second. Does that make sense? Type in fish, if that makes sense. Type in fish, if that makes sense. Oh, wait a second to make sure everyone understands that analogy. Good. I'm just making sure you pay attention by typing in fish. So perfect. All right, good. Okay. Great. So yeah, go find the fish, right? Go find where the fish are hanging out. So you put your fishing pole inside there, put your content there, engage them there, right? So here's how you do it. You first start off by looking up who are the macro influencers, meaning people with really big following. This is called 50,000 plus followers, right? And you can do the same concept, by the way, on Facebook, on Instagram, LinkedIn for sure, right? This works really well for really all the platforms. All right. So first off, you go by first connecting with them, right? The macro influencers, all right, the really big ones. And you can do the same thing with the micro influencers, meaning the people who have maybe 10,000 people that follow them, but they have a really good following. They're really good following, right? And that's really powerful. So, and that's in the field that you are working towards. Like basically, their audience are the people that you want to make sure that you go after, right? So that's really, really important. And you can do that by searching by title, right? And then once you're in there, right, you connect them. You can add them and connect with them on LinkedIn, right? I'm gonna close this. It's got a little right here. You can add them on LinkedIn, right? And you can send them a video message with your phone just to say hi, right? With your phone, and just to say hi and introduce yourself, right? And this is actually why I love LinkedIn messaging, because you can send a video message, an audio message, a text only message. By far, the best way is always going to be video. And the reason simply is this: when you send a video, it helps them understand you are a real person, that you're not a robot. It's not a computer sending them a generic message, but you are a real person that actually took time to do it, right? And you do this for as long as you can until you get to a point where you're too big and you're not able to do it anymore. But it's really powerful. Okay. So, and then on top of that, what you want to do is when you follow these micro macro influencers, whenever they put posts out, make sure you are on those posts putting a very high value comment that relates to the post. It's very valuable. So for example, let's go back to the personal training example. Let's say I'm not sure who's really big in personal training, but maybe someone who's really really big well-known person in personal training. They have a great post about, let's call it eating healthy or something. I'm just making something up. And it's a great post, and there's a lot of people that are commenting on there. You go in there and drop something really valuable as well, that when people see it, they say, oh, who's this person? Let me go check out Marcus Chan. I don't know who this person's all about. Let me go check him out. And when you drop a valuable post, they'll check out your profile. And if your profile is like a uniform, it's done well, they'll want to connect with you and interact with you. Now, that's what's really cool. And of course, they'll engage with your comment as well, but then you can go in the comments and engage with everyone in your target market as well. If they have a great idea or a question, you can drop your 2 cents, your insight as well to engage with them. So that way they go check you out. They say, oh, who's this person? That was really, really helpful. Thank you so much. They will check you out. Again, then they'll look at your profile and they'll connect with you if you do a good job with that. If they don't connect with you, but they check out your profile, then you connect with them as well. So that's a really powerful strategy of engaging with them in there as well. You can also look up hashtags, which are really, really good ways to get in front of your target market. All right. You can engage with their content as well. But again, when you're engaging with all this stuff and also with your own content, there's one simple rule you must follow. One really simple rule. And that rule is the 99 to 1 rule. Okay. And what the 99 to 1 rule is this, is you want to give 99% value, only 1% is actually a call to action. This is really important when you're new and building a brand on LinkedIn or really any platform, right? And this applies to direct messages, the content you put out, engage on the content. All right. Really, that means that you're giving lots of value. So, for example, when you're putting posts out there, your post should be, here's some value. Here's this post about solving this problem. This post about solving that problem. Here's some inspiration in this post. But there's very few posts are saying, hey, go buy my product, call me, book a time on my calendar. It's all designed to build trust and credibility. Now, as you build a following, you can start scaling back to 80% value, 20%, call to action. So I want to give you an example, right? So if you follow this specific example here of 99 to 1, I want you to picture this. If someone gave you a present every single day for 99 days, okay? It's high value, it's engaging, it's friendly value for 99 days, okay? Would you be open to one day after 99 days, they say, hey, would you be open to meet and discuss something? Would you be open to that? Just type in yes if you'd be open to that. If someone gave you a present for 99 days in a row, that's a really good value. Would you be open to talking on day 100? Just type in yes if you'd be open to that. Right. Exactly right. So, and the key is, of course, it's got to be high value. It's got to be high value for them, right? So, so that being said, as you'll see now with these 3 secrets, they're not complex at all, but they do take work to do, right? And the key is not just doing it once, but showing up consistently, and making sure that you are doing all 3 secrets over and over and over. And when you show up consistently, people will see that. And over time, you'll build a brand for yourself and a following as well. And these things, even though they're simple to say, it's hard to do it consistently well. And it takes a lot of time. And you got to picture with these 3 secrets, it's much like if you are planting a garden. You put the seeds into the dirt, but you got to fertilize it, and you got to water it, and you got to nurture it. And you may not see anything for a while. But if you have faith and you continue to take care of the seeds and you continue to water it and fertilize and take care of it, over time, eventually it'll start to sprout. It'll start to grow. And it might not be very much at first, but if you do it consistently, you'll have more and more and more, right? And it'll start to continue to grow and expand from there, right? And social media selling, LinkedIn selling as well, like we shared today, is the same concept, right? It is the same concept, right? So, and when you do that over time, this will lead to future business opportunities. You'll be able to build a following, and you'll be able to, whatever goals you have, you can utilize social media as a tool to get there. It'll lead to other things too, such as speaking engagements as well. So with that being said, that's the presentation for today. I'll pass it over to Rachel if she wants to open up for Q&A. We got time, of course. So thanks so much for having me on. And Rachel, you might be on mute still.
Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Thank you so much. This was very, very insightful. I was just here and I'm just taking notes. We are going to really put it to practice. So please, if you have any questions, please use the question section and drop your question. I'll take it from there. So just drop your questions in the question section. Sorry, the chat section, and I'll take it from there. Any question at all, kindly feel free and ask your question. And Marcus will tackle it for you.
I guess I did a phenomenal job. I did such a great job on the presentation that I answered all future questions.
So no questions at all. I'm typing my question though. If you have a question, please drop it. Feel free. LinkedIn, there are lots of things to learn on LinkedIn. So this is the best opportunity to ask your questions so that he will answer it for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's also one of the things where I understand too with LinkedIn. It's sometimes it's like if you're starting to do it, then it's like you have to start doing some of these things, then you get more questions as a result, right? So thank you, Eugene. Appreciate that. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Great question. All right. So this question here is how can a job seeker use LinkedIn to secure a job? Great question. So there's a few different steps. Now, there's going to be a reactive approach and a proactive approach. And LinkedIn, what I love about LinkedIn is it can be such a powerful way to also get a job. So the first thing I would do is number one, make sure, again, like your profile, like I mentioned earlier, is optimized and up to date. Now, your target market now is the people you're going after are hiring managers, but you want to get really clear what type of job are you looking for. All right, that's really, really important because let's just say, for example, if you are looking for an accounting job, so if you're looking for an accounting job, your profile must show that you are an expert in accounting, right? If you are looking for a job as a server in a restaurant, it must show that you excel in that. So whatever job, if you're looking for to be a salesperson, same concept. So number one, make sure your profile is optimized to the right people. That's the first thing, right? The second thing that you want to do is you want to make sure you are interacting with hiring managers. So you could go look up jobs and try to go that route. But what you want to do is look up specific hashtags that are common in that industry you're looking to go work into. Right. So for example, let's just say accounting, you might look up hashtag accounting jobs, see what's on there and start interacting with the people in the hashtag for that. Now, more importantly, you may encounter people who are the hiring managers, um, you know, uh, for other companies and start building relationships with them. And you can connect with them and you can send them a video message to introduce yourself as well. So it's really important that you are, out there putting yourself out there. You can also even put a video post of yourself introducing yourself. Say, hey, hey everyone, my name is Abdul. I'm out here and I live out here, and I'm actually looking to, get this type of role. If you know any opportunities, please let me know. My resume is up to date. I'm looking to make a major contribution, whatever. And the cool part when you post a video like that, it's very few people actually are going to do that. So you will stand out. And of course, make sure you tag the hashtags in there as well. But again, you have to go hunt for those roles as well. Now, what you can also do as well is you can look up searches for specific jobs that you're looking for. And then in there, you can find the job at whatever company you want to work for. Then you can look up that company who works there and look for who's most likely to be the hiring manager and connect with them as well. And whoever you connect with, make sure, even if they don't accept immediately, if they have posted anything, make sure you're engaging on their posts as well. Because when you engage on their posts, they will see you and you'll start standing, you become more recognizable, which is really important. And we do that consistently over time, you will eventually land a job by being consistent with that. So great question, Abdul. All right, let's see. Aside from business content, is it okay to post personal achievements? Yeah, for sure. Now, just find a good balance where the stuff you're posting out there, it's not so much of like, hey, look how great I am, right? Now, your profile is really powerful because you can just kind of have that in there, right, as different examples, which is really, really great. But again, remember this, is the content, the food your target market wants to eat? If it's not, it may not make sense to put out there. So it's really important to understand that. And it's good to have a personal approach, a personal content as well as a balance, but just finding a good balance there, right? So for example, most people, when they go onto a platform like Facebook or Instagram, they're expecting a lot of personal stuff, a lot of family and friends, political views, whatever you want to see on Facebook. On LinkedIn, people expect mostly business. So if you include a little bit of personal and business, mostly business, totally fine, right? But the problem is some people, if you do all personal, then that becomes your brand on that platform. So hopefully that makes sense, right? I think a good rule of thumb to be safe is probably 90% is going to be your professional working stuff and 10% is personal. And the really cool part is now they start adding LinkedIn stories depending on the countries. So once you get stories, if you don't already have it, that's a really great way to showcase more of your personal side as well, but finding a good balance too. You just don't want to overdo too much. So great question. Any other questions?
Yes. Any other questions, please? If not, we'll start rounding up soon.
Oh yeah. She's my wife now. That's right, David. That the girlfriend that you saw earlier, I eventually married her, and she's my wife now. That's right. So, yep. That's how you know I'm good at closing, right? So if you can close girls like that.
Okay, so please, any more questions? If you have any question, please drop it. If not, round up. Okay, whilst you are waiting for the question, Marcus, I just want to use this as an opportunity to thank you for wanting to be part of this. I thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, and we appreciate you very much. This was very insightful, and we are not going to be just hearers of what you said. We are also going to be doers. We are going to put it into practice, and I believe that the next time we have you, we are giving our testimonials and all that. Thank you so much once again, and we appreciate you.
Absolutely. It was my absolute pleasure, right? So glad I was of value, glad I was very insightful, and looking forward to seeing you all on LinkedIn. All right. And of course, I put all my social media handles on there. So feel
Yes,
free to
I'm
add and
dropping
connect with me
them
as well.
now. Yeah, I'm
Beautiful.
going to drop his social media handles in the chat
Beautiful.
section. So please, if you have, whilst I'm doing that, if you have any question, you can drop it, okay? Please.
Any other questions?
Okay.
I have a question, please.
Yes.
Great. So, sorry I joined late, but I have this question. Is it okay to, for instance, someone who likes to write articles that are that have a CTA or a call to action at the end? Is it right for the person to put such contents there with a sense of inspiring business people while he's solely an entrepreneur, all right? And is it right to put contents like that, articles to push business people to action? Is it right for things like that to be posted on LinkedIn since it's a strictly business setting?
Yeah, great question, right? So really it's hey, can you write articles on there and have basically call to actions in the articles too? Is that right?
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as long as the art, so here's reality: you can do whatever you want, but if you want to get the most results out of whatever campaign, whatever action you want them to take, you just want to make sure that article is really high value, right? It's got to be of high value, inspirational for them, right? The articles are what I love about LinkedIn articles is they stay on your profile for basically forever. And it's such a powerful way for you to gain credibility. You write a really well written article, it's high value for your target market. And then you have call to actions in there as well, right? And you don't want too many. like I have for the, I'm very specific on how I structure it. So I have a one right in the middle. It's like, hey, quick article break. If you want to do this, go check this out. Right? It's really soft. It's not like, hey, buy this. It's very solid. Hey, go, if this is a value to you, go check this out. And then the rest of the article, which is still very high value, at the end, I drop another one, which is, again, it's a very soft one. Hey, if you are interested in learning more, go check out this free training. Boom. And then I do a little bio section at the very bottom, which has a couple other soft ones as well. But none of them are hard. It's like none of them like, go buy this. Most of them are very soft, like, hey, go check out this, check out this free that. When you do it like that way, people, when they read the article, they're like, okay, this is really great value. I want to know more. Oh, here, I can go here now. So that's a really powerful way to do it. So hopefully that answers your question. So yes, it's totally fine as long as you have value in there. Okay, let's take a look. Got some other questions come through. Okay, so have you ever made a mistake on LinkedIn that you think will affect your brand? Here's reality. I'm pretty intentional. I mean, let me back up. Have I made mistakes on LinkedIn? Yeah, for sure. I put posts out there that don't go well. Here's the way I think about LinkedIn, right? Really social media. Whatever you put on social media, if it got screenshotted, someone took a picture of it and shared it with your family, your friends, your closest people, and they kept it pinned up for the world to see for years to come, would you be okay with that? And if you're not uncomfortable with that, then I don't recommend that, right? So, so I'm pretty intentional. I mean, depending on your brand, some people like to be polarizing, so they like to put really polarizing things on there. That's not my style. My style not to be polarizing. So I'm pretty intentional with what I put on there. And haven't put bad posts? Yeah, for sure. Things that just don't go as well as I wanted. But I never had the goal of putting something out there that's going to just like, I don't put things out there emotionally, right? So like if I'm mad about something, I'm not posting on social media. I'm waiting, right? So I'm very intentional with how I use social media because it could really help you or hurt you in a different way. But again, people have short-term memory. But I've seen people, they post something kind of stupid on LinkedIn, and they get a lot of backlash, right? And it hurts their brand. So you just have to deal with those repercussions and just be aware of that. So good question. This next question, let's see. My question is, were you able to build a link connectivity within a short time? So I'm not sure what that question means. Were you able to build a link connectivity within a short time? So if you elaborate on that question, I'm not sure I quite understand that question. Let me jump to Eugene's question. Okay. Are there any possibilities for a person to obtain an online job from his home country through LinkedIn, especially Africa? Yeah, Eugene, absolutely, right? Absolutely. So that's a great question. You can definitely get a job, an online job through your home country, right? Especially Africa. But what's really important is simply this. You have to make sure you build a really good brand online, right? So you have to make sure you do a really good job, make sure your profile is really good, make sure your communication is really spot on. And, at the end of the day, it's not a matter of if you can do it, it's when will you get it, right? When will you be able to get that job? And that means you got to be really consistent with making sure you are showing up, posting, being of value, and making sure you do a good job building your brand. So I'll give you an example. So every day I get messages from people that are just basically, they send me, I don't know them at all. They send me a direct message and there's two types I've seen that really are ineffective. They say, hey, I need a job. Can you help me? Well, I don't know you, so why would I want to help you? That's the first thing I'm thinking, right? And that I see that happen quite often. The second thing I see is someone I don't know, they add me, they say, hi. I'm like, okay. In my mind, I'm already thinking, what do they want? I'm really skeptical. And then they go, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. How are you? In my mind, I'm still thinking, like, what do they want? They're not being forthright. Again, it's completely cold. So I'm not warmed up yet. So that doesn't work. Right now, if you want to get an online job, if you want to get an online job through your country, from your home country, you have to be really clear with who you are, what your profile looks like, right? What type of job you want, right? Let's just say, for example, maybe I'm just gonna make something up. Maybe you want to do data entry. Okay, if you want to do data entry, right? From your home country, you can find a job doing data entry, right? But it's all about how your approach is, right? Which means making sure your profile shows that you are great at data entry, that you are a legitimate, real person, and you are, reaching out to people and interacting with people to, to get to know them, right? And then you are building trust first. You are doing the 99-to-1 rule first, right? It takes a little more time, but you'll get a better response as a result. That makes sense. So good. All right, cool. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see. All right. Yep, Eugene. Yep, I'll accept you. No problem. Cool.
Okay, so I've launched a poll. So please, if you see it, kindly fill it. Yeah, except the speaker. The speaker is not included, just the participant. Yeah, so please fill it when you see it. Kindly fill it.
Cool. Any other questions? So Eugene, tell me a little bit more. Eugene, tell me a little bit more about what you mean by throwing light on B2B salespeople. And Abdul, yeah, for sure. It just should be a DM. Yeah, if you want to elaborate on your question a little bit, Eugene, I'd be more than happy to answer that. Oh yeah, Abdul, just go ahead and just connect with me on any of those platforms and just shoot me a DM. Whether you can see on the screen there, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever platform is totally fine.
So I think, should I drop your email as well?
It doesn't matter. This is totally fine. I mean, DM is totally fine. I mean, I
Okay.
like DMs more than anything else because you can do videos, audios, etc. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to break the language barriers, if you will, that they have challenges.
Any question? Any question? If not, we'll be rounding up soon. Okay, so if you have any question, you can drop it. If not, yes. So please fill the poll for me, please. It's very necessary. So you see it on your screen. Kindly fill it. Okay, someone that Eugene said, I saw that on your LinkedIn profile. I just wanted to get the understanding on it.
Yeah. So hopefully I answer your question properly, Eugene. So my profile is designed to be optimized to attract and business sales professionals. So when they see my page, like, oh, wow, this person here, Marcus, even if they don't know who I am, it's the first time they came across my profile. They're like, okay, he has achieved results I want to achieve, right? So most salespeople, they usually have a quota. They know that I beat my quota every single year. I've won many really well-known awards in the US. So they're like, okay, I want to win awards too. I made the money they wanted to make. I ran the team size they wanted to run. I've done all these things they wanted to do. And on top of that, all my content is designed to be of value for them. So it solves their problems, inspires them, it gives them tips. So it's all designed. And on top of that, I have other things in there as well, free training and free resources, all designed for B2B salespeople. So really, when they go to my profile, they're like, wow, there's so much value just off this guy's profile. I must connect with him. I must see what his world's about. And even if they're a little skeptical, which is totally fine, If they go any other part of my profile, it's all designed to minimize their risk. So for example, if they were unsure, because here's reality, anybody can make up their LinkedIn. It could be all made up. It could be all fake if someone wanted to make it fake, right? You don't do that. Make it real, of course. But if they looked at my my LinkedIn profile, they could take a look at, say, the recommendations, and they'll see inside there I have over 60 plus recommendations from real people which recommend me for what I've done, right? So it all minimizes the risk, and it's all for B2B salespeople, right? So that works for me. That's my audience. That's who my products and offers are for. That's where I build my business off of that. And your profile has to be geared towards your people that you are going after as well. So B2B salespeople are people who sell business to business, right? So there are people that sell to other businesses. So they are salespeople. Their primary goal and objective is to secure and get new clients from people from other businesses, right? So if I work for, let's call it company X. Let's say let me give you an example. Let's just say I work for Nike, and I work for Nike, and I want to sell Nike clothes and shoes to Amazon, right? I want to sell to them so they can resell it, right? That'd be business to business, right? So Nike selling to Amazon, right? So it's one company selling to another, and there's salespeople who help with that transaction. So good. That's it.
Yes, I think that is it. Okay, thank you, everyone. So thank you, Marcus, once again. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for this insightful session, and we hope to have you again sometime, probably in person.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
and
you
thank
so
you
much.
to thank you as well, and thank you to everyone who joined. We appreciate you, and please do well to tell your family and friends about the sessions so that you can get others to benefit as well. Yes, so with that being said, thank you all, and we hope to see you in our next session next week. Next week, our session is on Saturday. Everything will be communicated on the platform. If you are not on our page, kindly join through the link I sent. Thank you all so much, and see you next week.
Hey, Rachel, I want to personally thank Mr. Marcus.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Marcus, you've done a very great job. Thank you very much. Keep it up, and we'll be looking forward to future connections. Thank you very much. All the best.
Awesome. Hey, appreciate that. Thanks.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Marcus.
Yes.
Sorry.
I can
Yeah,
hear
this
you.
is Eugene.
Hey, Eugene.
Yeah, personally, I want to thank you for the presentation. I mean, it was splendid, well educative, and I just want to get more acquainted with you. And also, I read on your profile that you're from Portland, Oregon. My brother is also in that state. Can I connect you with him too? So you can meet in person and you can discuss. You can be on the
Yeah.
coaching.
Yeah, shoot him over my information for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, because he's a newcomer in Oregon. Yes, 1 year.
I'm in Oregon. You're exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Can I get a contact? Or can I send you my email address and you can send me your contact and I will link you with him?
Well, yeah, just
So Eugene, you can connect with him on the links that I posted, okay? So just DM him on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and he will respond to you.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you everyone, and see you next week. Bye.
Right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much, Marcus.
you can sign out. I'm just finalizing some things on here, so you can feel free to sign out. Okay. Thank you all so much.
All right, Richard. Thank you for today's session. You think when will be the next
Yes,
session?
Eugene. It will be next week, Saturday.
Next Saturday. Okay.
Yes.
I would just want to get an update pertaining to the time so I can be late again.
It's always 4 p.m. All the sessions are 4 p.m. either on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining. Okay, please share the link to your librarians. It's very necessary they also benefit from these sessions. Okay.
No problem. Certainly, I will do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Pleasant Sunday.
Oh, we've ended. So if you just joined, I'm so sorry, okay? But the recording will be available. So don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.